Well, hopefully the overlords will let us go live. They've been absolutely nuts lately. All right. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today we have two major updates. One of them, of course, many my age and younger will probably not know about, but Jimmy Carter has passed at 100 years old. We're going to talk about China hacking the Treasury. It is absolutely a crazy 48 hours, and as I believed and many others, that this whole lull for the holidays is, of course, because the media wants you to spend money. They want you to forget about the whole issue about the world imploding for at least a week. They give you a break. And then, of course, I said it would just come right back. And it does every year. As somebody who covers the news, it essentially has this lull for about a week. There is still events going on worldwide. It is just they are not passing them along. In fact, they would love to do anything else besides talk about negative things for the 3 days of Christmas, right? So hopefully everybody is ready for this new year, because 2025 is set to be one of the most insane years ever. But again, Jimmy Carter has perished, again, at 100 years old. Memorial services for former President Jimmy Carter, who died on Sunday at the age of 100, are planned to span several days in Washington, D.C. and Atlanta. President JB announced that Thursday, January 9th, will be a national day of mourning for Carter, which is just a couple days after the certification. So interesting timing there. Who will be buried next to his wife, former First Lady Rosalind Carter, who perished in 2023 in a private ceremony in his hometown of Plains, Georgia. So I don't remember Jimmy Carter. Some of you may have. Some of my older viewers have fond memories of Jimmy Carter, or the opposite of Jimmy Carter. Make sure to leave your comments down below and let us know what you thought. Now, to the major story tonight, which is that China, or at least they are telling us that China has hacked into the Treasury. We're going to cover that right now. Again, make sure to also go check out marfooglenews.com/EMP if you haven't already. With all of the craziness right now, I hope that people are looking at protecting themselves against, especially EMP. It is electromagnetic pulse attack. Again, this is one of the most likely scenarios as far as an attack on the United States, because it does not take lives directly. It would do it by knocking down our grid. The first thing you do if you ever try to take any kind of group out, or country or building or whatever, is knock out power and communications. It's the first thing any military will do. And that is, again, something that preppers prep for. So go to marfooglenews.com/EMP, get the same protection that they use, of course, at agencies like DHS, DOD, and the DEMSA team, where EMP is tagged up with them to officially help protect the Texas grid. All right, again, make sure to use code MARF. It gets you $50 off, plus it helps our channel out. We are completely independent. We're on our own. We're up against behemoths like CNN, Fox, and all of these others, which pay to be on the top of your page. So, China hacked Treasury Department in a major breach, U.S. says. Let's talk about it. Let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
And so, obviously, we have covered all of the different hacks, how we've had comments from FBI, DHS, DOD, all of them saying that China is infiltrated into our infrastructure. I do believe that they are. That is one of the few things I do believe out of many of these places. But when they do tell us these kind of things, why the timing? Always got to question the timing, the claims, everything. The legitimacy is always going to be in question if it is coming from, of course, any agency, let alone a person, whatever. You should question everything. One of China's intelligence agencies hacked the US Treasury Department, gaining access to the workstations of the government employees and unclassified documents, the JB administration said on Monday, the latest in a series of embarrassing surveillance operations against major American institutions. It was unclear from the Treasury's limited first account of the episode exactly what the hackers were seeking, but senior officials with access to the intelligence on the breach said that it appeared to be entirely an espionage operation and not part of other Chinese efforts to insert malicious computer code into utility grids and water supply systems, giving them the capability to shut off critical American infrastructure. Now, I just want to repeat that part. They're saying, oh, yeah, well, it appeared to be entirely an espionage thing. It's not related to them completely entering our grid, our power grid, our water systems, and all of our critical infrastructure to where they can just straight up shut it off. So, oh, don't worry, this is just purely like they're just trying to screw us over or steal stuff or, take information or mess around. They just want to peek behind the curtain, right? This isn't related to the whole, the fact that they've put, back doors and everything and they are going to do a Dragon Day scenario on us. Not at all. Dex, this is really incredible that we just keep getting things like this. And of course, by tomorrow, people will forget. People will talk about Ukraine. People will talk about Russia. People will talk about Middle East. When really, I think, in my opinion, is China behind almost all of it.
Well, it makes you wonder, because part of this is we don't know when this happened. That's yet to be released. That'll come out in an update to Congress. But this was released by the White House, and a very limited amount of information was released. It also could be that it's coming out now to maybe preface the fact that something else goes along with this that may play a bigger role. I mean, imagine if part of the information they were getting was information they could use to, blackmail or hold over politicians, not specifically, but as far as threats about releasing information that they know from the Treasury Department that could be damning to the public or anything like that. We don't know what they got, what classified documents or what type of insight they may have gotten their hands onto, or maybe they didn't get onto anything, but that's what it could very well be. It's just a scenario.
What about this too? What if so many of us believe that this entire last 2 years that money has been flowing out and that a lot of it has not been getting to where it was supposed to be going? Just a reminder, I love my life. I am not sad whatsoever. I just wanted to point out that, of course, a lot of money is going out, and there's a lot of people questioning where that money is actually going. There's been many people step down, especially over there in the Ukraine, that essentially all of a sudden had supercars and mansions, and people wondered, they're like, how do you do that on a janitor's salary? You're a military janitor. How did you do that? I'm totally being facetious. They weren't janitors, but they were generals or whoever right underneath Zelensky. In fact, all the way up, the 9 people right underneath stepped down. So how did they get these $1 million mansions? How did they get these supercars? When do they have time to do that while battling for their freedom? I don't know. But again, there's been many questions about that. Just weeks or months before the Syrian takeover, we actually sent $375 or $325 million that way to UKR, one of the many payment sections of money going off to them. And in that same time period, I guess UKR felt so generous that they actually gave drones to HTS, the group, that over 11 days, and really the news covered it for 3 days, and CNN interviewed this revolutionary guy that led it, that used to be part of the El Nusra Front and part of the T groups. This guy just took over Syria, and it had nothing to do with the hundreds of strikes that the U.S. was doing, the hundreds of strikes that, Israel was doing, totally separate, They did support. They're like, hey, this is the enemy of our enemy, so we like this guy. Even though he's on our $10 million bounty list, we're supposed to be apprehending him. We're instead going to send CNN, dress him up like a monkey, and then, of course, interview him. So with that being said, that's all this money's going somewhere, and people are wondering, where the hell is it going? Well, what if they had information? What if they hack into this Treasury Department and they find out all this stuff? We were just told, if you look at the outside picture of this, we were just told not to text from Android to Apple or Apple to Android, because Apple to Apple is secure, Android to Android is secure, but if you go to either one outside of the network, then they may be able to get that information. Most people don't care if their texts are read by some, guy in a Chinese office with 1,000 others reading text. But the thing is through text and through these things, there's governors, there's senators, there's all sorts of people that are probably texting other people, talking about top secret stuff. We know this. There was plenty of emails deleted in certain time periods that we all talked about. As far as, the stuff that is said through text, people get comfortable and they say the wrong thing. Well, those things could be used against people. If there's a senator or a congressperson with a very, very close position, or a position that's on one of the boards or committees that knows a whole lot of information, if you get them texting their mistress and then you send them pictures of him and his mistress, or her and her mister, and you go, hey, I'm going to tell your husband or wife that you're diddling around unless you give me information. That is the kind of thing that is extremely scary, because they will do anything to save their own butt, which we know from history. So as far as hacking into the Treasury, did they get into information that could blackmail us? Could they get into information that would cause basically havoc in the streets? Think about this. If they come out with information, or somehow it leaks, that a ton of money has not gone where it's supposed to go with proof, that would really cause a huge upset. And at a time where we're already divided as hell, I would highly recommend having your head on a swivel right now. Dex, final thoughts on China hacking our Treasury?
Well, one of the things that does make some sense is if they're looking for espionage type information, they are really keen on trying to figure out what to do with sanctions when they come upon themselves by taking Taiwan. And having information that maybe in the Treasury system could help them see what was going on sanction-wise and what they could get around or potentially leverage from that, if as it was related to Russia and Ukraine, as that would obviously roll over to them if they launch an attack into Taiwan.
So we will end up seeing what ends up happening with this. We'll follow the story, and we won't forget about it. Many times stories like this pop up, and then the next day nobody talks about them, yet they will give some sort of little update on a back page. If you want the update to this, or if you want to know more about what China may or may not be doing to take things over, then I'd highly recommend hitting that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to all, because obviously you might not get all notifications, but again, you can do the best by clicking all. It's on some for default. So any creator that you're watching, if it's not on all, you're basically saying, hey, I sometimes want to see what they put out. If you want to see all of it and you believe that this is important, then make sure to hit that bell. All right, you guys, we'll join over on Marfoogle TV, our sister channel. We're going to be talking about the rest of what happened in the last 48 hours. Again, that's going to be very important stuff over there. If you want to join us, if you're in chat, just stay there. You'll be ported right over. If you want to watch and you're watching the replay, the link will be right here. We'll see you in just a minute. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Make sure to thank your mods on the way out.